So she was pretty excited about this. We got a couple of flyers that were sent home with her at school, and it showed all the different varieties that she could pick from. There's literally just hundreds of different designs. It's a little overwhelming. My husband laughed because when he was a kid in Japan, growing up, because he's Japanese, he remembered that at that time there were two choices. There was a red one for girls and a black one for boys. And there really was no choice beyond that. So the case at that time was very simple. It was just sort of a kind of like plastic covered kind of bag that then contained all of the stuff that you needed. So we were kind of looking through all the flyers of what my daughter could choose from, and you know, there's obviously ones that are specifically, you know, geared towards girls that have, you know, flowers and different cool kinds of pop designs and stuff on them, and a couple character things. There's some Hello Kitty, some Elmo, those kinds of things. But she didn't really like very many of them that much, so we kind of looked online. You didn't have to actually officially buy it from the school-sponsored locations, as long as you show up to school the next year with what you need. So we looked online until we could find something we wanted. And we were able to find something pretty cool that was about the same price as we would have paid at school. The school ones were about 3,600 yen is an average price, which I don't even know what the yen rate is these days, but that kind of gives you an idea of how much they would be. That's how much ours was too when we got it online. So this is what her bag looks like. This is just her oshuji bag. So she already has her landosal, which is a backpack that she takes to school every day. And then on days that she'll have oshuji, she'll need to bring this bag as well. She has also an art bag that she bought when she was in first grade. She also has a pianica that she plays in school right now, and then from third grade she'll be using the recorder. So all sorts of different little tiny bags to carry along with your bag. So it's a little overwhelming, I think. I only had a backpack when I was in school, so I don't know. But this is, like I said, the bag that contains all the art stuff in it. I mean, you can only imagine, like, nobody really in the States would ever even begin to suggest that kids spend, you know, $30, $40 on an art bag for school. Sadly, I think a lot of schools really limited how much time they have for art anymore. Japan is one of the countries that probably spends on average almost in the top 10 of the most money spent on students for arts, which is really cool. And sadly, the States is very low. So, but inside this cool bag, now depending on, you know, it's a pretty nice material. You can wash it. If it gets ink on it, it comes off fairly easily. Nice padded kind of design here in front. It's kind of like a computer bag almost in some ways. It has a nice, you know, dual strap for you to carry, and then a shoulder handle too. And then inside, the inside contents are about the same for every bag you buy. You know, you need basic materials for your class, so that stuff doesn't change much. Inside, you're going to find this kind of folded up plastic portfolio, and inside is a plastic shield that keeps everything safe, and then a piece of felt to kind of soak up any extra ink of your projects before you take them home. So that's kind of always a standard inside. And then we also have the kind of mat that you do your work on, this little guy here, kind of give you an idea what it looks like. This little guy here. And then there's also two brushes, a big one and a small one. And the big one's usually used for practicing writing. Kanji characters is what they practice writing with. And then the small one's used for signing your name. As kids get more advanced, you should be able to sign very small writing as well, even with a big brush, but that takes a little bit of practice. So, and then there's some ink, all ready to go kind of ink that you just squeeze and go. And then there's also this plastic case inside, and these all have little pouches inside. I can't probably really show you so easily, but this big plastic case inside keeps everything nice and secure, so hopefully ink doesn't go everywhere inside your bag. But this contains a few things, a few standards that you need. There's these, there's two of them here. They're real heavy rubber kinds of weights to keep your paper flat when you're working. So you have those guys in here. And then you also have this this little kind of tray where you gather your ink in here, and then that's where you work to get the ink that you need when you're practicing writing and drawing. There's also this little squeezy guy to squeeze up water and ink to help mix things. And then this is the official actual ink. Now this is kind of the ready to go, you don't need to worry kind of thing. This is actually just a stick of the color that you then mix with water, slide it on your tray to kind of get what you need from it and work from this. So there's those two ways to do things. And that's kind of your standard for all of these kinds of kits is what's in here. And, you know, you can buy the ones that the school offered were all, you know, fancy character designs and real pretty ones. And like I said, the average price of those was about 3,600 yen. There is the super cheapest option is like at, you know, like your kind of version of Target, which is called Justco or Eon here. And they sell like their kind of, you know, generic brand version for 1,300 yen about. But it is just like kind of the old school days kind of red or black version that doesn't have a lot of, it's not very sturdy, and, you know, but the contents are of the same, maybe not as good a quality of brush or ink, but this thing is you don't really see so many kids. I mean, they're there and some kids do get them, but there is a lot of pressure on kids to kind of get the same as everybody else. So, and I know that's true everywhere. You know, there's always that pressure to kind of be the same, have the same jeans as everybody, have the same iPad as everybody. There's always something that makes everybody go crazy to try to be the same. But it seems in Japan that there's a lot less kind of room to be poor. Even if your family's really struggling, they still have to come to school with the exact same things as everybody else. So, you know, parents are just kind of required to buy really expensive landosel, which is a backpack. They're kind of required to buy these really expensive cutesy kind of bags for their art supplies and for their calligraphy supplies. So, you might see some families, you know, passing stuff down to other kids, but a lot of times they wind up buying new ones just for them anyway. So it can be pretty pricey having a kid in school with all the different things that you're expected to buy. I'd say probably once a month I get a message from school asking for me to pay about $10 to cover costs for things at school like tests and notebooks that the school provides. All textbooks are the students' textbooks, so they get to keep them forever and ever afterwards, which is kind of cool. But those are kinds of some of the extra costs of being a student in Japan. And she's just in elementary school. It gets a little crazier as you get older. So, but I'd love to hear any of your guys' comments about, you know, getting back to school supplies. You know, the school year ends here in March, and then we have 2 weeks for spring break, and then the new school year starts in April. So there's not really a whole lot of time to get ready for the new year. But I remember vividly being so excited and getting everything, you know, in August as we got geared up and ready for the end of August to go back to school. And, you know, being super excited to have the cool notebooks and all those kinds of things. You know, you had to have it, you know, Trapper Keeper and all this stuff. I'm kind of telling you guys how old I am by telling you that. But lots of cool things to get, and I think, you know, it's always a good feeling to be excited to go back to school. And I kind of miss that feeling. You know, you get used to that for 13 plus years, even longer if you go to university, and then all of a sudden you're thrown into the adult world where nothing matters really. there's no, oh, it's a new year. It's just like, it's another year. So I kind of miss that excitement of getting new pencils and new notebooks. But I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below. So